Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
It is that time where Judd Zulgad, the sports dad, ranks the 10 best teams in the NFL. It's the Purple Daily pigskin pecking order.
Football. That's right.
Where does he have the Vikings?
That's right. I've got the rankings.
He's Dan Campbell
But
at
no
Applebee's.
no one can know yet.
He's Bill Musgrave. Well, you need a smaller.
No,
Need an index card.
I would need a
card for
small index card. I need like a sports card like this. Okay,
There you
here's
go.
what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do.
We'll also give you the If the Playoffs Started Today update. Very fascinating wild card weekend matchup for the Vikings. But hey, Roku TV is on board with Purple Daily here for the 2024 season. America's #1 TV streaming platform, also offering a new line of smart TVs made specifically by Roku. In fact, 3 months ago, the Mackey family went out, found ourselves a 65-inch 4K Roku TV that now gloriously hangs in our living room. Great for football watching or for corny holiday movies on whatever app you want to
Maya
use.
loves it, I heard.
She does. We watched a dog documentary on the Roku TV on Saturday, and she was very, very interested.
Nice.
Yeah. Scared a couple times, too, like, what's going on that
What
screen?
the hell? This thing's going to kill me. Yep.
But Roku.com to learn more or shop at a retailer near you. Roku.com or a retailer near you.
Football.
Okay. Let's rank some teams. Rank them, stack them.
All right, let's go. Let's go. All right, so number 1, here are the playoff teams that are out. So I've got 10 spots. There's 14 playoff teams. Not everybody can come to the sports dad party, okay? So bad news, Falcons, you don't belong. Commanders, that's closer. Lost, of course, last Thursday to Philadelphia. Broncos, improved play, but not there yet. And then the toughest one, the team that's out last week as well, but won decisively on Monday night at Dallas. The Houston Texans are still out. 7-4 now. Their strength of victory is 413, so it's okay. They were a minus. Here's the best part, though. They were a -2 in point differential going into the Monday night game. They are now plus 22.
That's
Because
what
the
the Cowboys will
Cowboys
do for
stink.
you. Yeah.
Because the Cowboys stink.
If you
So
need a blowout victory for self-esteem
Exactly.
purposes, go to Dallas.
Go to
and
Jerry
play the
World,
Cowboys.
where the stadium is falling apart and the team is right behind it. All right, so first team out from last week. Goodbye to, and I tried for you guys, the San Francisco 49ers. 5-5 now. They lost to Seattle, plus 28. I still like them, but here's the problem. Brock Purdy's hurt now. They just can't get healthy. And I feel like it's just one of those years in San Fran where every time it's like, okay, you got guys back, and then you don't got guys back. So anyway, 5-5, a late close loss to the Seahawks. They are out of the rankings.
It just kind of feels like the 49ers car has been through a cross-country road trip through the mountains in the elements. It's got 160,000 miles on it.
Yep.
You've tried to spruce it up with oil change, maybe some new parts. But how many more times can you keep driving the same car up the same mountain? Super Bowl trip in 19, Super Bowl trip last year, injuries, all the things. They're still very formidable. It's a tough out, a tough beat, and they might sneak into the playoffs. But yeah, it kind of feels like the end of an era for that team, and then they're going to have to figure out if they pay Brock Purdy $60 million.
Right. They're in the end of their lease, and the residual value has negative equity. They have to figure out, do they want to commit to the negative equity and try to build it back up, or do we start fresh with a new lease? That's kind of where they're at. Yep, there's your car analogy there for
And
you.
plus, you know what? And this is the thing that makes this league compelling and frustrating. Teams have years like this. The Vikings will. Like, you just can't get guys healthy. You get guys back. It's such a sport of attrition that at some point in time, too, it's like, okay, you think you're back, then you're not, and eventually it's just not going to be your year. I like San Francisco, but they're out. Number 10. Number 10 making, I believe, their debut here. Could be considered a little controversial with Houston out, but the resume right now looks damn good. It is Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers.
The Chargers.
The Chargers were out last week, and I think that this is my first time in my 4 rankings this season that I have had them in 7-3, point differential impressive, plus 75. They've won 4 consecutive games. They just beat the Bengals in that Sunday night thriller. Strength of schedule 447. Here's the downside to them. Strength of victory is only 315. So they've beaten up on teams that they should. The Texans, to go back to that, their strength of victory is 413. But the Chargers are on a roll, and I felt that it was only fair to at least give them the number 10 spot.
Jim Harbaugh, every single place he has gone, has done this.
Great culture guy.
Takes a team that sucks or is reeling and just turns the lights on, builds a culture. They run the ball. And it's funny because before the season, a lot of the talk was, okay, you're going to bring Greg Roman back in, G-Ro, as our guy Boone calls him, get the band back together. And you guys are going to, if you look at Greg Roman's career as an offensive coordinator, he's always like a dead last in passing attempts everywhere. San Francisco, Baltimore. Well, there's no way that they're going to do the same thing with Justin Herbert, right? You're going to throw the ball. Nope. They are, once again, like near the bottom of the league, if not at the bottom in pass attempts. But it allows Justin Herbert to play off play action and to make big plays down the field and just do Justin Herbert things, but not be the entire franchise, right? So, love me some Chargers, man. I think the Vikings couldn't have gone. They had Jim Harbaugh or Kevin O'Connell. You brought up a good point on the scoop that KOC might have longer than like a 5-year shelf life, and he's younger.
Yeah.
So great hire by the Vikings, but Jim Harbaugh also would have been a great hire. I mean, these are just 2 really good coaches.
Well, and the thing that O'Connell and Harbaugh have in common, at least upon arrival, is they both convince rosters that they can win.
Yep.
Like that's the starting point, right? All right, so the Chargers at 10, dropping 2 spots through no real fault of their own because they're coming off a bye, but it's just crunch time right now from Sports Dad. Number 9, Arizona Cardinals. So they were 7 last week. They had a bye. I'm dropping them to 9. They are 6-4. Point differential, not great, plus 18. They also have won, like the Chargers, 4 consecutive games. Strength of schedule, 583. Strength of victory, 459, which is pretty good. I have accused myself since I started these rankings of probably sleeping on the Cardinals because they're the Cardinals. But they look to be a pretty good team. In fact, I think that the Vikings-Cardinals game should be great fun because I do think that that's a test, especially with what Kyler Murray can do when he's going well. So the Arizona Cardinals come in at number 9.
Yep. And Vikings-Cardinals, you could still, today I think is the deadline to flex that game to a Monday night.
To a Monday night game. How about that? Only once done, I guess, before. So
we'll see.
Since they put in that rule. Number 8, holding steady after a very, very close call at Soldier Field, the Green Bay Packers. 7-3, point differential plus 37, 539 strength of schedule, and a 417 strength of victory. The Green Bay Packers holding steady at the 8 spot.
Very competitive team. Jordan Love has thrown at least 1 interception in every single game this year.
Leads the league now, right?
Yeah, he has 11 picks because Darnold threw none. They were tied.
It sounds like he looked better on Sunday. I did not see much of that game because I was watching the Vikings, but
he threw 11 all year last year in 17 games. He's played 8 games so far this year, has 11. Mm-hmm. So the turnovers have been very problematic. He also, some of his other, like everything's kind of just down, especially from where it was in the last 8 weeks when he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Okay.
Number 7, tumbling all the way from 3 because this is a gauntlet. Baltimore Ravens. I like them. They lose to Pittsburgh. Now 7-4. Point differential is still a very solid, respectable plus 63. Strength of schedule, and this is where they are impressive. Strength of schedule is 509. Strength of victory 500. So Baltimore tumbling because of the loss to Pittsburgh, which obviously when I get to them will move up. Baltimore from 3 last week to 7 after their 4th loss of the season.
Lamar Jackson hasn't won a game against the Steelers in 5 years.
It's incredible.
And I have bad news. If the playoffs started today, Lamar Jackson would face the Steelers on Wild Card Weekend.
Mike Tomlin, man.
Interesting.
What more can we say about Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, this was going to be the year that they aren't going to finish 500, right? They're sitting at 8-2. Russell Wilson resurgence, defense. It's been a hell of a coaching job for sure.
Because you know what he is? He's a head coach. He is a
Right.
head
He's the
coach.
CEO of a football team.
Coordinator. He got to Pittsburgh. He ran Tampa 2 here. He got to Pittsburgh. Dick LeBeau ran a 3-4, and he kept it. He kept LeBeau. He kept the defense and said, "You do you." That's a head
football coach.
That's a head coach. You're at CEO. All right. Number 6, coming off a victory last Thursday over Washington, moving up from 10. They're now 8-2, the Eagles. I don't love them, but there's a lot of things going their way. Plus 80, which is very impressive in point differential. They were 2-2, and there was talk about, is Nick Sirianni, who I'll continue to say is a punk, is he going to survive? But they've now won 6 consecutive games. Strength of schedule only 394. Strength of victory only 373, which is why I don't love them. Like, I'm still teetering on them, but the deciding factor is we're 10 games in. 8 wins is impressive. So Eagles, Ravens, Packers, Cardinals, Chargers are the 6 through 10 in my rankings.
Yeah, this is the exact time of year last year where they stopped winning games. So that division, though, super weak. So they should still be able to hold together and keep their record intact. But I don't know. I can't fully get behind the Eagles. Nick Sirianni.
I agree with you.
The way that they melted down the stretch last year. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So if I'm going to put the Eagles 6, I ain't putting them ahead of the Vikings. I think the Vikings are a better team. And I'm sure we can debate it, but I think the Vikings are a better team with a better resume. The Minnesota Vikings, coming off the win against the Titans, are number 5. Up 1 spot. Also 8-2, point differential plus 74. So 6 fewer points than the Eagles, but that's nothing. 3 consecutive wins now. Oh, it's against bad teams. Well, yeah, but you've still won 3 consecutive games coming off back-to-back losses. The test of a good team is how do you rebound coming off, a small slump. The Vikings have. Strength of schedule, 447. So much more credible on the resume than the Eagles. Strength of victory, 386. It's dropping because of the fact that they are playing inferior teams, but they are still winning those games. But if you ask me, still second best team in the conference, Eagles now or the Vikings, I'm going with the team that wears purple.
Yeah, I think the tail of the tape here would be really interesting. Defense, I will take Vikings. Head coach, in fact, what's the difference in there?
Vikings.
They both played 10 games. The Eagles have allowed 179 points. Vikings 170. I guess Eagles defense. Eagles get off to these slow starts, and then they pick it up.
Fangio's back with a vengeance.
Yeah, early it was kind of a problem.
Yeah.
But I'll take Kevin O'Connell. I think you got to take Jalen Hurts over Sam Darnold, but 2 totally different quarterbacks.
But I agree with you. Yes, I take
weapon. The Eagles have really good weapons when healthy, when fully healthy. So,
but I'll still take the Vikings.
It would be like if that game took place right now. I think it would be, depending on who is the home team, like a 1.5 or a 2-point spread. It'd be very close to a pick 'em.
Yeah.
That if they were to play Philadelphia in the playoffs at the Link, and they were to win based on defense, that could push Brian Flores to a head coaching job. Like that might be where somebody says, "I don't care if you're suing God, I'm going to hire you."
Yeah. And then he's distracted the entire week leading up to the next playoff game.
And they get drunk.
And they get smoked.
That's a good point. All right, so the Vikings are 5. Number 4, up 1 spot from 5. The team that we talked about that beat the Ravens, it is Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers. 8-2, point differential plus 71. They've won 5 consecutive games. Their strength of schedule, 457, impressive. Their strength of victory, impressive, 471. The Pittsburgh Steelers, if we're going to have a discussion right now, if you stop the season right now, gentlemen, and we had a discussion about the NFL Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell certainly is in the discussion, but does anybody beat Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, I mean Tomlin. I would say Dan Campbell should be in the discussion, but the way that it works is the Lions were expected to be good.
Teams, correct.
KOC, if criteria follows the same historical trend of it's a team that we thought was going to be bad or mediocre, and they outperformed expectations.
Yep.
Dan Quinn, Mike Tomlin, Kevin O'Connell, all should be in the mix for sure. Mm-hmm. Might be another one or two we're missing. The other thing that you keep hearing about the Steelers is like, yeah, but their wins are I can't get behind them because, they win ugly. They kicked 6 field goals or whatever it was. How often in your life, and the Steelers have been good like our whole lives. There's really been very few stretches where the Steelers will miss the playoffs for a long stretch, right? How many times in your life have you watched a good Steelers team and thought, that is really aesthetically pleasing football right there? That is track meet, glorious. Detroit Lions 52-6.
Yeah.
They're always winning 23-16 and 18-16, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not going to hold it against them, is what I'm saying.
So, Pittsburgh Steelers, number 4. Number 3, dropping one spot, the Chiefs. Wow. They lose to Buffalo in a great game, fantastic game. 9-1 now. Point differential, a little surprising. It's not more. It's only plus 49. Strength of schedule, 509. Strength of victory, still 474. I gave thought to dropping the Chiefs behind the Steelers, and I even did it. And then I crumbled up the piece of paper and I said, no, you're not doing this.
You'll find out soon enough. They play on Christmas, if anyone can watch it on.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you fly to the game, put your phone up, and stream it for me?
Yeah, no, Antonio Brown's got you covered. He's got you covered.
I'm at the game. ESPN. Can you see it?
ESPN broadcasting live from the upper deck.
All right. Moving up 2 spots from 4, the team that beat the Chiefs, obviously on Sunday. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. 9-2, point differential plus 106 now. They've won 6 consecutive games. Strength of schedule 465. Strength of victory 430. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that this probably, to go back to our Coach of the Year conversation, Sean McDermott probably should be included as well. I think a lot of us thought, including me, that the Bills might slide back a bit. And they have now won 9 games, and they probably have the MVP of the league at quarterback at this point in time. And that win against Kansas City was what we like to call a big boy win.
Yeah, they've done really well against Kansas City in the regular season. I think they're 3-1 or 4-1 against Kansas City in the last handful of regular season games. So
you're right.
It's it's not nice to see. It's fun, but no one, fairly or not, no one really cares unless this rematch takes place in January.
And they have to win.
And they do it then, right?
Yes.
In fact, it kind of drives me nuts. Like, Josh Allen is a modern day John Elway. Physically, the numbers he puts up, even down to like getting into his late 20s and not having a Super Bowl yet. Elway had to get into his mid 30s before he won one. But we oversimplify our take on quarterbacks sometimes. Well, Josh Allen is a choke artist, or Josh Allen can't win the big one. It's like, first of all, I think he's 28. He's going to be in the league for at least another 8 or 9 years. He's going to win a Super Bowl at some point. But he's run into this crazy dynasty of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Defense hasn't stopped the Chiefs and Patrick at times, right? Like, it's more of that.
Yeah. But he's legitimately one of the, when it's all said and done too, if he keeps putting up numbers like this and winning games, he is one of the greatest quarterbacks of the last 30 or 40 years.
It's incredible.
And all we talk about is the epic failure sometimes. And that's fair too, because like you do have to stamp it with a Super Bowl win at some point, but that dude's awesome.
Right. Well, if his defense gets a stop, they can win. But I did love, and I'd be curious to see if he had the intestinal fortitude to do this in a playoff game. That 4th down call that Allen scored on the long run was a gutsy call.
It was awesome.
Because he could have kicked a field goal there, and I think gone up by 5, and he's like, we ain't doing that.
No, we're going up by 2
scores. Seen this
scores.
play before. But if you get to January, a playoff game, exact same thing, do you do that? Because
100%.
I agree, but
Because you've learned the other way before.
Yeah.
Who do you
can't
trust
your
more?
defense.
One of the greatest quarterbacks in modern history on your team
Yep.
to get a couple yards,
Yep.
or the greatest quarterback of all time against your defense. Just don't let it happen.
It's not even a call. It's a slam dunk. All right, and then not surprisingly, the number one team, a team that we've all loved for a long time because they've been so dominant from the 50s on through, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
They just absolutely. It's not they beat Jacksonville. The Vikings beat Jacksonville. It's that they got Jacksonville on their home field and obliterated them, continuing a 98 Vikings-like run through teams of just embarrassing scores. Lions 9-1, point differential plus 159. Just for context, again, the Bills impressive plus 106, Lions plus 159.
Yeah.
8 consecutive wins now since their week 2 loss. Strength of schedule 480, which is good. Strength of victory even better, 489. So Lions, Bills, Chiefs, Steelers, Vikings, Eagles, Ravens, Packers, Cardinals, and Chargers. Bye-bye San Francisco, Falcons, Commanders, Texans, Broncos. Do better.
That's fair.
Do
That's
more.
fair.
Do better.
Do more. I'm going to poke you with the stick, the meme with the stick. Do more.
Come on, do stuff.
Oh, man. Yeah. Okay, if the playoffs started today, we will get to that in a second. But we're all stoked for Judd's rankings there. Judd, I know you're stoked about barbecue pellets. Huh?
Oh, absolutely am. And look, Grill Masters, I wanted to talk to you about Stoked Barbecue Pellets, which is a company based right here in our great state. Stoked is the premium pellet that cooks anything that you throw on the grill or smoker to delicious perfection. Perfect for pellet grills and pellet smokers and all types of grills. Find Stoked Barbecue Pellets, 50-count fire starter buckets, 4-count fire starter bags, not to mention the barbecue caddy, which I'm going to tell you right now, a holiday gift. If you know someone who likes to grill, that barbecue caddy is absolutely fantastic. Available at all 22 Fratelloni's hardware and garden stores, or check out stokedbarbecue.com. Again, all 22 Fratelloni's hardware and garden stores are where you can find your Stoked accessories. And, you know, if you're like Dex, you grill year-round. You never
right.
stop. You never stop. So it's a perfect time to check out Fratelloni's to get your Stoked items.
Love it. All right. A couple more minutes here just on this bonus episode. But if the playoffs started today, the Minnesota Vikings would head out to the southeast corner of the country, down to Atlanta, Georgia, where they would play an old friend.
Dirty Birds.
Vikings at Falcons, Super Wildcard Weekend.
I love this. Bring it on. I'm telling
so
you
much
guys,
fun.
I am not going to back down from my contention that if I can go play the Falcons. And by the way, so I think I said this 2 weeks ago, right? I said I want the Falcons. I would gladly take the Falcons more than the Cardinals. And some of the pushback I got was, but what about all the Vikings fans that would pack Arizona? Atlanta's a bad sports town. And are you telling me after what we've seen the past 2 weeks that Vikings fans wouldn't pack the Falcon Stadium? So I ain't worried about the lack of a Skol chant there, but give me Kirk Cousins, give me a Falcons team that seems to be very up and down. Give me Kevin O'Connell game planning against and Brian Flores against Cousins. Yeah, bring them on. I love this matchup.
Man, this is the Spider-Man meme, man. This is the 6 previous years. If you were to describe the Vikings for, I would say at least 3 of those years, maybe even 4 or 5 of those years, it would be really talented offense in terms of skill position players, Kirk Cousins as the quarterback, and a defense that is just kind of leaky, and you get into the schedule and you're going to put up some big performances, some games, holy crap, 300, 400 yards passing or whatever, but then inexplicably you're just going to, like the Falcons in back-to-back weeks have lost at New Orleans and then smoked at Denver 38-6. And how often were you going through and, boy, the Vikings are looking really good, and then just inexplicably they would stumble and spit up all over themselves. And just taking a tour after the Sunday loss through Falcons Twitter, man, it's the same stuff that we were all debating and talking about. It's all the other things around the quarterback, and it's the defense. They got to really look at making a change at defensive coordinator, fire the defensive coordinator. And so, yeah, the Falcons are exactly what the Vikings were under Kirk Cousins for most years, which is very competitive. The offense operates at a fairly high level, but you're, feel like you're leaving some points out there pretty regularly. And because you're devoting so many resources to the quarterback, your defense is a little bit leaky, and you've got some guys out there that probably aren't high-end starters, and that's his career. That is his career. And they're sitting at 6-5. They've got the Chargers after a bye week. They've got the Chargers and then at Vikings. So there's a chance that the Falcons, probably not favored in either of those games, could be 6-7 with the Buccaneers playing Giants. I think it's Giants, Panthers, and Raiders.
That division is not good.
So you might be, and if the Saints keep winning too, like
that division.
Right now it's
true.
Falcons, but you're probably going on the road against whoever wins that division with 8 or 9 wins when it's all said and done.
It is literally the 2018 Vikings all over again. Like the 2018 team was 5-3-1 in mid-November. Then they lose 3 of 4, and then they have to play a winning game against a JV Bears team, and they can't even beat the Bears team to get into the playoffs. It is. I still think the Falcons probably are going to be in the mix and will likely still be in the playoffs if I'm putting money on it today. But it is very much. We've seen this play. We literally have seen this play before.
I think here's what's going to happen. So the Falcons are 6-5. Bye week, I think they're going to lose back. I think they're going to lose to the Chargers and the Vikings. So that would be 4 consecutive losses to 6-7, and everyone's going to say the season's over, right? That's where the pressure comes off because the season's over, and then they're going to go into Vegas, beat the Raiders, huge performance. Yes. They're going to beat the Giants the next week to get back to, I guess it would be 8-7. Yep. And then at Washington, probably a loss, 8-8. And they'll play home against Carolina with playoffs on the line. Same thing, dude. The Bears, and all they have to do is to get their 9th win is beat Carolina at home in Week 18.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's this, dude. It's the same thing we lived for years and years and years.
That division is going to be the 2024 poster child for we should seed teams. The winner of that division is going to get a home playoff game, and their record is not going to justify it. Yeah, every year we go through this.
There's going to be there's a good chance the Vikings have a better record than one, if not 2 of the division teams.
One for sure. Like, it'd be a huge problem if they didn't have a better record. They're 3 games up right now on Atlanta.
No, they will. But I'm saying we always have this discussion because it's like you reward a team for winning a division, and every year it seems there's one that's just crap. And in this case, it's going to be that division.
So some interesting times ahead here on
I would love to
Vikings
see
schedule.
I would love to see Flores cause havoc for Check Down Kirk.
It'd be a great story if not.
I wonder if he'd work Tuesday that week.
I think he works Tuesdays during the playoffs. I don't think you have to worry about that. Sure I don't know. Maybe not.
Should we check?
By the way, breaking news, the Jets just fired general manager Joe Douglas.
Yeah.
That'll fix it. Although he was a terrible GM. He was like 30-64. And
welcome to life with the Jets, man.
Starting over again.
How many times can you do this before you just say the owner's awful?
All right. There's your bonus episode. Judd's pigskin pecking order here, Purple Daily. We'll have Write That Down predictions tomorrow. We got Thursday on the horizon. And we'll see you guys here. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.